Well, after about a month of Weapons releasing, it was about time I had to talk about it at some point. And I wanted to do it opening night, but after watching the movie, there was just a lot I had to think about it, so I just never got a chance to finally make a review about it. So I figured after about a month and rewatching it a couple of times, I came to the conclusion that, yeah, this movie is extremely good. And I'm going to try and make this review somewhat quick and everything because there's not much I want to spoil here. Like I said, I wanted to make the review after I saw the movie like I normally do. I just because of how much I love this movie, I wanted to spend some time at least talking why I feel like this is a movie that should be watched by, I don't want to say everyone because this is still a horror movie, so not a whole lot of people like horror movies, but it should be watched or at least considered to be watched, at least at some point in people's lives. Now that I officially have a day off from work and I can actually find the time to record, I decided to actually get into this movie. Now, like I said, if you're looking for a full detailed analysis of the movie, you're going to be disappointed. I'm not going to go fully too deep into detail, especially since I want to keep, especially from coworkers and friends of mine that are interested in seeing it. I don't want to spoil it for them and also other people in general. If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it, but I'll get into that later. Just so they can go in kind of like I did, just blind, not knowing what to expect. So if you're expecting an explanation on the giant gun in the sky with all that going on, I got nothing. I don't know how else to explain, but outside the fact that it's just a somewhat of a cool image and maybe an allegory on school shootings. But we don't need to get into that because that stuff just depresses the hell out of me. Now to finally talk about Weapons, just down to the point the fact that this movie, similar to Pulp Fiction and Magnolia, down to the point that the cop literally has a mustache and looks similar to, John C. Reilly's character from Magnolia, which is, I don't know, a funny little coincidence or a homage. Regardless, there's a lot of similarities to other movies when you watch this, like Magnolia or Pulp Fiction, specifically with the nonlinear structure, the look, the feel of everything. And I definitely do get those vibes from it, but otherwise, this movie just kind of stands really on its own, and it's really good. And I feel like that's what makes this movie unique, is the fact that it follows a non-linear storyline. And with each and every chapter, because the movie, the way it's structured is it shows each and every character in chapters. It shows Justine, Marcus, Alex, and these are just going to be minor spoilers, just how it's structured. And after each and every chapter, it ends each and every one of them in a way that it gives you clues to the puzzle. So right as it gets interesting, or right when you're just ooh, I'm getting the story, it then goes to another character's chapter and it does the exact same thing. And yes, it does get repetitive at times because you're just revisiting. Essentially, it kind of just all lines up with each other. And you're kind of going oh, okay, I'm connecting the dots a little bit. And it's not just all about, the whole kids disappearing plot. There's other stuff going on in there as well, which also makes it interesting. The characters themselves, they're almost like little short stories or mini movie. Yeah, pretty much just a mini short story dealing with this plot that's going on. And on top of the horror elements, I'm going to be honest, the comedy also really does work in this movie. It has the best WTF ever said out loud in a film, in my opinion.
What the fuck?
But also one of the characters that you eventually get to learn about right in the middle of the movie, he's also pretty funny. The guy that plays the drug dealer, I don't know the actor's name, I wish I did, but he does a really good job, and he gets a few laughs here and there. So I really like the fact that this isn't a all-out horror movie, and you do get that levity. And unfortunately, you do get some of those jump scares, but I'm going to be honest, and this leads into my next point, some of the jump scares here really work, even though some of them are cheap.
God
Besides, outside of a few cheap jump scares, the movie does a really good job at the horror build-up scenes. One character in particular I do want to talk about. I'm not going to spoil the name nor the character overall because, you know, I don't want to spoil too much about it, nor her name. But she is legitimately scary. Like, she has a lot of creepy moments in this, and you know, the movie in general has a lot of unsettling moments, but she gets a really unsettling moment, like right early on into the film. Now, granted, my theater was kind of cackling during this experience, even though for me, the way I'm going to show a clip here, I'm going to try not to show so much so I get copyright stricken and, you know, unfortunately I have to take this down. But the way that the character moves, the way that it's framed, the music, overall, it is very unsettling, very scary, maybe a little goofy, but it's really scary. And the situation in general is also a very frightening, you know, moment in the film. Now, that also leads into why I also love this film a lot, is the fact that this was a very fun theater experience. Now, I don't have the great, you know, or best theater experiences. I think in some of my videos, I think I've stated how I've dealt with, you know, those jerk-offs, you know, talking, hopping on their phone in the theater and everything. But this was probably one of my favorite theater experiences when watching a horror movie. I mean, it was a packed house. Granted, this was opening night. I was severely sleep deprived because it's just a totally unrelated work incident that happened, so I was like completely wiped out, completely sleep deprived, but I wanted to go see this movie, and it was a packed house. And when I say packed house, the IMAX theater was filled with everyone, even in the very front row, which by that point I'm tapping out. I don't see how you can sit in the front row, but some people did. So that just goes to show you that this movie was there was a lot of hype around it. And the theater, I mean, during that moment that I was talking about earlier, they were really into it. Like, they were reacting to it. Like, from the car door opening, they were freaking out. From the scissors coming out, they were freaking out. There was moments where the audience was bursting out laughing. There was moments where the audience was terrified. There were even moments where the audience audibly went like, what the hell? Like, just went like WTF basically. And it was fun just to be part of that crowd that, you know, you can react with them. And it wasn't over the top. There wasn't any cheers or applause. And no one was on their phone. Everyone was locked in for this movie, which I wish could be said for a lot of audience members during some movies that I've watched, but, you know, that's their loss. They missed out on a terrific movie. I didn't, and the people that actually pay attention during movies, they didn't either. But that's a rant I'll go on somewhere down the road again. But yeah, this was a very fun theater experience, and it makes me feel bad because I don't like seeing movies alone. I want to go with coworkers, I want to go with people, and I do have fun with them, but there are times where a lot of people are busy, unfortunately, so I have to go to the movies alone, and, you know, that can be fun too. So the theater experience being mostly filled up did make up for it, but this was just a fun movie to enjoy with a large crowd. And I feel like that's the best way to view this movie. Even though it's already out on streaming and everything, if you want to watch this movie, watch it with a crowd, because you guys will be reacting to it. If you're scared of horror movies, but still want to watch it alone. I mean, it's a fine movie to enjoy on its own. But I highly recommend watching it with a big group of people so you can react to it and just have a fun, good time with it. Laugh a little, get scared a little, and you'll have an all-about good time. Now, this video, I don't want to take up too much time with this review, so I'm just going to get into some of the weaker moments here, because unfortunately, there is some here, but they are very minor in my opinion. Now, I know what I said, that I felt like this movie was very hyped up and it was a very extremely good movie. Now, do I feel like it is slightly overhyped? Yes, I do. Unfortunately, I do feel like it is overrated to an extent. And also, I'm gonna admit, once you get the explanation on why the kids disappeared, it is kind of disappointing and kind of underwhelming, but it is also kind of engaging, and you do like the character, and she's pretty frightening in the end. Um, on top of that, I feel like the ending, especially, you're either gonna love the ending or you're gonna hate it. Now, for me, a lot of critics said that this was the most outrageous finale you've ever seen. Is it that? No, not by a long shot. In fact, the way that everything goes down, it was very choppily cut, and it happened in very quick cut moments. It wasn't bad, but it was just kind of like, oh, yeah, that was insane and gnarly, but I thought it was going to be gnarlier, basically. So I was a little bit underwhelmed with the ending, and also I'm disappointed the fact that test audiences hated the original ending the without the narration. And this is why I feel like test audiences are either the dumbest things imaginable, because I feel like this movie would have been pretty good in my opinion if they stuck with no narration at the end. I feel like no narration at the end would have been okay, and it would have been up for audience interpretation, but I guess a lot of people, especially in this day and age, don't want to think and use their brains. They want to have all the answers presented to them. So of course there's narration explaining what happened to the kids after everything and all that. So I know I just technically spoiled the ending there, but yeah, I mean, and it's also just goofy, man. It's a really goofy ending. I mean, I was talking to a coworker about this after both me and her watched it. I think she watched it before me, or I watched it before. Regardless, who watched it first, I just remember chatting with her about it, and I was just like, "Hey, what'd you think of the ending?" And she was just like, "I don't know. I did not like that ending." I was like, "I was fine with it. It was just a little goofy." And like I said, you're either gonna love the ending or you're gonna hate it, or you're gonna be somewhere in the middle. Personally, I was somewhere in the middle where, excuse me, it wasn't a bad ending. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, that was a little goofy, and with how a lot of people were hyping it up as like one of the craziest finales they've ever seen, that was pretty tame. But maybe that's just me. I'm not trying to come across as like, oh, I've seen a bunch of horror movies and everything that with much wilder, endings, but I do feel that way. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about this movie. I feel like I've shared pretty much everything that I needed to about this. It's not a bad film by any means. And I know, let's just call this friend of mine. I don't know how else to explain this friend of mine, but she does not like horror movies. Like, just absolutely hates them. Does not want anything to do with them. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is a movie that I feel like a lot of people should watch, including her. Especially with a group of friends. You'll have a good time. If you're too scared, perfectly fine. But I feel like it is a very rewarding film to watch, believe it or not. Similar to Sinners. Now, the argument is this better than Sinners? No, not really. I'd say it's, second to Sinners. Sinners is still probably one of my favorite, horror movies that released this year. And I just had I just had little to no problems with that film when I saw it. It's just a really good movie. Now, this movie does have issues, but it doesn't hurt the movie too much to the point where I can't enjoy it. It's just the ending is kind of a letdown. I felt like Sinners had a more wild ending compared to Weapons, but that's just my opinion. And God forbid I have an opinion. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. I'm yapping for too long with this movie, but like I said, this is a movie I wanted to yap about. This was a very good movie. If you're scared with horror movies, that's fine. Watch it with a group of people. If you're not scared of horror movies, give this one a watch. You might like it. But anyway, that's about it. Take it easy, everyone. See ya.